What's good, YouTube? It's your boy WaveO, back with another video. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm reacting to a video where it's about Trey Burke and explaining why Trey Burke couldn't sustain a long NBA career. I feel like I already know the reason why. It's due to probably his height and his inefficiency at that height, because it's already bad that, you know, you're undersized guard, and if you don't provide anything outside of offense, and if you're not an elite offensive player and you don't provide anything else outside of that, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you're replaceable. They could get somebody who's taller, much better, and not a liability. And I mess with Trey Burke. Trey Burke is a hell of a player, but yeah, let's get into this video, man.
Alphonzo Clark Trey Burke III, born November 12th, 1992. They said there'll never be another Magic Johnson. Then an even better one came along.
Alright, we gotta stop. Okay, so I get, like, there's some elements in LeBron's game that resembles Magic Johnson, especially his build, 6'9", 6'9", and a pass first type of player, but LeBron is far more superior as a scorer than Magic. Like, LeBron is LeBron. LeBron is in his own world, man. Like, we gotta stop this. Stop comparing him to Magic.
They said there'll never be another Michael Jordan. Then Kobe came and was a pleasant imitation, even after a while growing into his own game. Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, and the list goes on of great players that similar players came after and have been compared to in style, either surpassing him or becoming a great in his own right. Except Allen Iverson. To me, Iverson is the hardest player to recreate, and in my opinion, there will never be another player you can compare to Allen.
Especially when Trey Burke got the braids, he definitely reminded me of Allen Iverson. Like, he wore the number, I think he wore number 3 when he was playing for New York at the time. So, yeah, those elements. He had, like, the braids, the headband, the sleeve, and he was going stupid.
Can have the same or better success because the league was so much different when Iverson took it by storm with moves, a look, personality, and even game that wasn't always accepted and or championed by the NBA. But he was and is one of the greatest to ever do it, even without a championship. Second to Jordan as my all-time favorite player. I just knew there could never be another player like Iverson, whose game I absolutely love watching. Then comes Trey Burke, a player that shows you just why the Allen Iverson game wouldn't work in today's NBA.
He wore number 3.
Of course, not the player himself, because I do feel with his confident and defiant personality, along with his competitive nature and charisma that allowed his teammates to follow his lead, Allen Iverson himself just might be even better in this era. But that style, without the intangibles just mentioned, would probably end up being Trey Burke. Shockingly, Trey Burke's game style evolved into what could be a splitting image of Allen Iverson's. He even eerily resembles him physically, making me wonder, why isn't Trey Burke able to have close to or the same success in the league? Has time in the game changed that much?
Nah.
Before even making it to his 5th season, he was already a part of 3 teams. Minnesota before traded to Utah on draft night, from Utah to Washington, where he remained for a year, then not extended by the team, so joined the Knicks G League affiliate before the Knicks called him up, and 2 more teams after that, 6 in total in 9 years. He's since been traded to the Rockets and OKC, both he never reported to, and back to the G League before August 2023, the Warriors granted him a workout. He's currently without an NBA team, about to be 31 years old. Makes me think, what happened to Iverson?
That's crazy, bro, because I remember when, that's one of the first, like, every time I think of Trey Burke, I think of, is it 2K14? It's back when 2K had the rookie showcase, and he's your point guard. If you choose any other position besides point guard, he's going to be your point guard. And the rookie in the Rising Star Showcase, whatever it was called back then. So, but damn, he's already 31. That's just crazy to think about. Like, damn, 31? It felt like yesterday he just got into the league. He got drafted.
Does have long arms and athletic enough where I've rarely seen this cause a problem on the offensive end. He's from Columbus, Ohio and attended Northland High School. As a sophomore and junior, he didn't receive much accolades because he was playing a supporting role to then high school superstar Jared Sullinger. After Sullinger left, in Burke's senior season, he took over and led his team to a 26-2 record. He was labeled a 4 and on some recruiting services 3-star recruit, winning the Ohio Mr. Basketball in 2011. He first committed to Penn State because they were the first to offer him, but would decommit later and sign with the University of Michigan, where he became a star and ready to leave for the NBA in just 2 years. Stunt number 1, out of position and possibly error. Trey Burke has a few issues that worked and continues to work against him, and this one seems to be one of the more glaring. Like Allen Iverson, he's a small, scoring guard placed in the distributing guard position, when quite frankly, there are better guards now in the league that can do both those things better. Him being in the wrong era is the exact difference between he and Allen Iverson. When Allen came in, the league had yet to see a guy like him that was that good at scoring the ball, even though he was undersized at the point guard position. One thing I loved about AI, his shot making ability was off the charts. He wasn't the most efficient, but when he needed to make a big shot, he did, and enough of them to carry his Sixer team to an NBA Finals practically by himself and win a game against the juggernaut Lakers of 2001. In Allen's era, each team had one superstar on it for the most part that were the focus of the offense as the league was transitioning from the old school 80s, early 90s moves, making...
And I want to say this. One thing that he mentioned about AI is that even though he's undersized, like one thing he loved about AI is that he have terrific shot making ability, even though he wasn't efficient. But he would get a crucial basket when needed. And that's why I don't, like, for me, especially when it comes for guards, I don't really care about guards' efficiency that much. It got to be, like, horrible. If they're shooting, like, 40%, 42% from the field, and they're, like, 6 foot, I don't really care too much because they're already at a disadvantage being undersized. Their game is most likely taking jump shots, a whole lot of jump shots, and not that much attacking the rim. Like, for a guard, for anybody to be efficient, you have to be attacking the basket. Whether, like, unless you're like fucking Stephen Curry. Like, that's different. Like, if you're not as good of a shooter as Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, like, I'm not going to be surprised if you're not super efficient. But I just wanted to point it out because I hate when people like criticize a player for their inefficiency. Like,
Allen a breath of fresh air. But in this era, with
it's
each team now having 2 to 3 stars or superstars, and a team full of guys that actually get in the gym and care about being the best on the floor more than they had in the past, there isn't an exact need for a guy like Burke that presents a liability on defense because of his size.
And you see, and I definitely mentioned that. I mentioned that in the beginning. The reason why he's not in the league, that's the main point. We have better players. Like, what's the point of having an undersized guard where you could get somebody bigger and not worry about them being a liability? Like, he has too many flaws, bro. It's too much to work about, bro. It's too much things to worry about with a guy like Trey Burke. That's why you don't see that much undersized players. Even though now, not now. Back then, you could hide them on defense because of different playing styles. Now it's to the point where everybody on the court basically plays similar. You still have those traditional centers. You still have those traditional role players who are strictly out there to shoot the basketball. But most of the time, teams are going to have all 5 of their players able to do multiple things. And if you're not one of those players who can do multiple things, especially defend, you're going to get targeted, especially in this era of basketball. So
that's why he's not more than 3 assists for his career.
It's easy to target.
When it comes to scoring, that's the biggest difference between he and Allen
and if
Iverson.
He's not elite offensively,
Burke doesn't have the freedom to be inefficient like Allen had. In an era there was space to be, and coaches had no other choice but to live with the good and the bad. That game style is difficult in this era because of the selfishness it takes to do.
Explain that. I literally just. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep letting the video play. I'm taking away from the shine of starting growth. My bad.
Do what Iverson did in his career, and now that teams and players are held more accountable, Burke's not able to chuck shots like Allen Iverson did, and he doesn't have the instincts to be a traditional point guard, making him expendable to teams. Stunt number 2, the Utah Jazz. Coming into the NBA from Michigan, where I watched Burke a great deal, as the 9th pick, I was hoping he didn't end up on a team like Minnesota or Utah, or someplace that's just immune to winning or attracting the best in employees and talent wanting to come and stay there. It's the reasons teams like Portland, Sacramento, Utah, Minnesota, Cleveland, and so on find it so difficult to have success and even keep their star players whom they drafted. There's just not enough there for some players who care about the city in which they live or the organization being highly competent and capable of helping the player grow. A team like Utah trading for Burke on draft night had potential in a negative or positive way. There, he would get a chance to step right in and play right away, and 68 of his 70 games as a rookie, he did just that. He was the 4th leading scorer on the team at 12.8 points a game and a career-high 5.7 assists per game. He made the all-rookie first team that year, and what does Utah do the very next season after? Draft another point guard. The hyped Dante Exum from Australia, who came in as the 5th overall pick, so obviously had to play and play a lot. Burke's starts were cut in half to give Exum opportunity, and his production took steps back in a few areas, especially.
I will never understand that with organizations. I will never understand that. It drives me nuts. Not even drafting players at the same position where you should feel like you're solidified, but like acquiring players or not doing anything, not moving on from that player. Like last season, I didn't understand. I don't even think I made a video about this on my TikTok. I didn't understand the whole purpose of Atlanta acquiring DeJounte Murray. I still don't get it. I don't know why. Like, what are they trying to do? What is Atlanta's vision? What are y'all trying to do, bruh? Y'all want to stay mediocre? That's not a position of need. You need to solidify your shooting guard position. You got Trae Young. You got solid role players. You need a star next to Trae Young. You need to find that actual star. If DeJounte Murray is your second best player next to Trae Young, that's a fucking problem. Because they both play the same position. It wouldn't be a problem to me if they wasn't playing. If DeJounte was somewhere else playing with like a wing or somebody. Say like fucking, I'll say Kevin Durant, for example. If DeJounte Murray was the second best player, that wouldn't be a problem to me. But since he's playing alongside Trae Young, that's a huge issue, bro. Because it's hard enough for your best player to be a point guard to win. It's not that common for your best player being a point guard and to win a championship. So I don't understand.
In year 3, without the room and confidence, the team believed in him as their point guard of the future. Looking over his shoulder did nothing to help his situation. The Jazz traded him to the Wizards July 2016 to give Exum a fair shot at being the guy,
and
but Utah quickly seen that was far from the case. Trey Burke could have been great in Utah, but the team gave up on him too soon for what turned out to be a huge bust. Stunt number 3, opportunity. It's one of my favorite words because it's literally the difference between who ends up being great or not. Trey Burke didn't receive much of it after his rookie year in Utah, or much ever since.
But I ended up getting
being traded to Washington meant he'd be John Wall's backup surely, and that's what it was. It lasted just a season, and Burke played horrible in this role, averaging just 5 points a game and 1.8 assists. The Wizards also signed Brandon Jennings, who immediately became Wall's new backup, leading Burke out the door and into free agency. He was signed and waived by the Knicks and had to play for their affiliate G League team. From there, Trey Burke's career led to teams that didn't have a starting or pretty much bench opportunity for him. His career then after was reflective of inconsistent opportunity, as when he did get the chance, he'd show he could be effective, but being in the times we are now, with kids coming into the league that are much better than before, teams can be more sudden about letting a player go about his way, as middle-of-the-road players like Trey Burke have become a dime a dozen. All in all, Trey Burke is still a nice player that's about to embark on a possible 10-year NBA career. His game is beautiful, like Allen Iverson's was, but also an example of how that game style just wouldn't work today, unless in an ideal situation. Still one of my favorite guards to watch. For these reasons, his growth was stunted. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth.
Shout out Stunted Growth, man. Shout out that boy. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, man. If you haven't done so already, go ahead, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Become a part of the wave. If y'all want more videos like this, let me know in the comments. I'll react to these videos. These are actually fun to react to. It gives me a little bit more insight, gives me more to talk about. But yeah, if y'all haven't done so already, once again, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. It's your boy WaveO signing off. Damn, my camera, yo. So my camera. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, go ahead, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. It's your boy WaveO signing off. Peace.